Have you ever considered thinking about deadlines and then being confronted with distractions? Well, both Sharon and I am doing done by one, so I'm going to invite her to join me. Let's see. That's not correct. Okay. I only see one person I can invite, and that's not Sharon. So I think Sharon has fallen off the live. Well, we'll see in a little bit. Anyway, I have been doing my Friday Night Live, also known as Saturday Morning Early. And well, why both? Well, that depends on the time zone where you're at. So over here it's Saturday Morning Early, and in the US it's Friday Night Live. So Sharon is back, so I'm going to invite her. During my Friday Night Live, I talked about deadlines and distractions. Why? Because the both of are doing Done by One, which is a challenge done by Brennan Burchard. And he wants us to have the most important things done by 1 in the afternoon. And well, how amazing that sounds. And I know it's important when it comes to creating habits. I also noticed that, sometimes there are some distractions. And to really work specifically on all those things which are important for the Done by One, well, that takes some discipline. So, and of course, everyone who's watching, feel free to leave a comment so we can see what you are thinking. And there she is. Hello, Sharon.
Hello.
So,
Oh no, I'm not seeing you anymore. Is that normal?
No.
Weird.
I'm still
Okay.
seeing you.
Okay, then it's all good.
But I know we are not the only one who are watching, so maybe someone else can give us some feedback about whether the both of us are visible. So what do you see if you don't see me anymore? Do you see yourself?
I see myself, yeah.
Okay. Well, for those who don't know, this is the first time that Sharon is going live here on Instagram.
Hi.
Well, have you gone live before yourself, or is this the first time as a guest? Thank you so much. You're an angel. She says she sees both.
Yeah. No, this is the very, very first time. So you're getting the premiere here.
Ooh, you're an Instagram live virgin.
Yep.
Well, that's a new word. So today we are going to talk about deadlines and distractions. Yeah, it's mirrored, I know. But it says deadlines and distractions. And this is the result of Done by One, which is mirrored too, from Brendan Burchard. And well, Sharon is the one on the bottom, and Lexy, that's me, so on the top. So can you see that one? Oh, you can't see that one either, right?
Me? No, I can't see anything. I don't know why. But yeah, we'll figure that out on a later date, I guess.
Okay, well, that's not nice. Then you're talking to thin air. Well, you hear me.
Yeah, I'm talking to a black screen, but I'll hear you, so that's fine.
Okay, well, I shared a little about the deadlines and the distractions that Brennan was talking about, and I said, I'm one who absolutely do not like deadlines. Apart from always being late, and one of the persons who's watching, she knows it. I have been contemplating about doing my Friday Night Live, whether I should do it like 1 at night, like this time here, which would be like 4 in the afternoon Pacific time, 7 Eastern time, or doing it 8 o'clock over here as in the morning, which means it's 2 o'clock at night Eastern time, 11 Pacific time. And well, I think you said it, and I think Peefy said it too, that by not posting when I'm going to go live, people don't know it, and well, chances are they're not going to watch it anyway.
Yeah.
so, so this time around, I was a good girl, and I posted beforehand. I think I did it before I went to sleep, and then just before I actually went live, I did another post like I'm going to go live because of course it was half an hour later than I had planned. So now you know why I don't like deadlines.
Mhm.
And then of course there are the distractions. So what would you like to share or respond to when it comes to done by one deadlines or distractions? Because I can go on for hours, but I want to know, of course, what your idea is.
So the question is specifically done by one in combination with the distractions that come up during that time frame. Basically, that's what you're asking, right?
Well, not entirely, but
Okay.
thank you for critiquing it that way. So Brennan has told us when it comes to done by one that you want to focus on the things which have priority. So
Yeah.
those are the most important things that we want
Yes.
to do.
The priority
So then he's
project,
yes, but
right?
then he
Yeah.
said, besides having a list, what you actually want to work on, you also want to have deadlines. You want to have deadlines for what you're going to do today, this week, this month, this year, and that's why I started about deadlines because I noticed that our deadline basically is 1 o'clock in the afternoon every day.
Yeah.
He doesn't make an exception for the weekends, as far as I can tell.
Oh,
And
really? I didn't know that. Good to know.
well, it doesn't make sense for me that you wouldn't work on it in the weekends, but that's me because being an entrepreneur, I work every day. I work
Mhm.
whenever I can. And I have fun and not do anything. And that doesn't mean that work isn't fun, specifically.
Mhm.
Yeah. What does he say? She is asking, are you both in Ultra's group? Yes, I am, and Sharon is not.
Nope. Just growth day and the accelerator course that he's doing right now. Yeah.
So she knows Growth Day. Do you know the Accelerator Challenge, PV? Are you aware of that one? I'm just asking her so she can comment, which is
Mhm.
always a little bit of delay. Um, but yes, when he was talking about the deadlines and of course doing done by one, I noticed in the last couple of days that it was a little bit harder to keep the focus. So normally I set an intention, I put on music, which is like, okay, that's nice for momentum and to get in the flow. And then I do my best to ignore any phone calls, any messages. When I go live, actually, I put it on airplane mode, my phone, so I'm not
Mhm.
distracted.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I live on do not disturb mode before one, so good
yeah,
luck getting a hold of me.
yes. So that's why I talked about the distractions when it came to deadlines, like how are you dealing with it? So you live on non-disturb mode. And Piffy says she didn't know about the Accelerator Challenge. So,
Mm.
but you do know about the Ghost Day app. I know she does because she's been in the Ghost Day app too. So, so how about the other things when we talk about weekly deadlines, monthly deadlines, and yearly so hello, yearly deadlines. I think when we were on the phone, I had the same problem that this is a tongue breaker for me.
Mm. Yeah, it's a tongue twister.
So, have you already set deadlines for the week, the month, the quarter, the year?
I have been setting deadlines for the day, for the done by one every day, and I just finished the last Monday's replay when he talks about project planning and stuff like that. So I have been creating my battle board yesterday evening, but I got distracted by some police raid in a pub near my house. So talking about distractions, yeah, I need to finish that. Sometimes things pop up, right?
Yeah.
That need immediate attention, and just for your own safety above all. And like Brandon always says the most important things need to be done first, like you have to have a roof over your head and you have to have food and stuff like that. And once the basics are covered, then you can work towards your projects and your missions and your vision and stuff like that. So I've been thinking about the deadlines, what to do for this month, what can I finish this month, because the month is almost over, and what to do for next month. I have been majorly struggling with thinking up the compound actions, or what was it called again? That's a good one.
Yeah, so maybe we need to explain to people what you actually said when it
Yeah,
came
sorry,
to
I'm jumping
compound
in.
actions. So what he says is it's about doing one thing which has a long-term effect. So whether it is because you're getting used to doing that one thing, like what we're doing by going, by having things done, the most important things done by one, or whether it is because you set something in motion, which sets something else in motion, and next something else can happen. So he gave an example of you hire someone who's good at hiring other people. So that person has the time to find 3 other people, and then at some point you have a number of people to work with. So there are things you can do which accelerate things. So the compound effect is basically like, okay, you start with one thing and it builds up to something else. I think I described it sort of like it was supposed to be, right?
Yes, as far as I can tell, yes. Another example he gave was like, since he is a content creator, for him, blocking like 5 hours of time to film nonstop is a major multiplier for him. So compound action, because then he has that content and he can give it to his team that will create a series of content that he can post on the internet for like 2 months or so. So batching that time and those tasks together can help, and then you can delegate the rest to your team if you have a team. A team can not necessarily has to be a team at work. So if you don't have any formal leadership, you won't have a team there. But your team can also be like your family or your kids, your spouse, your partner, friends, family who can help you out with those compound actions. So
that's true. Yeah, he has this term called circular virality. I don't know if you have ever heard him say so, but that's when you actually take a recording and you cut it into tiny little pieces. So, for instance, our live can be used to cut things into little pieces we can use for other stuff as well. So I call them snippets. So I have, that's one light that just went down. Battery. So I have, I'm sorry, I'm distracted by the light turning off.
right on brand today.
I, I actually have one snippet from the live I did earlier, so it's only one. I haven't checked it out yet. It's usually under 60 seconds. If you're wondering why I'm not looking at the screen, which you can see, it's because I'm starting to charge the light. But yes, for instance, I did a training not too long ago, and I cut it in 7 pieces because, and again, you can see this. I'm holding the handout of 7 ways to express yourself.
Oh, yeah,
And
good one.
yeah, you know what it is, so that's good. And well, each way to express yourself actually has part of a video linked to it. I just need, so I separated the entire video in 7 parts plus an introduction, so 8, maybe 9 if there's conclusion too, I don't remember. But now, of course, I need to actually write the training, just, a few sentences, put the video on there so people can actually watch the course. Because I think for me, it would make sense that if there's a handout that people would actually want to know more about it, and that includes watching a course. So I'm playing a little bit with the light that's still there, which you still can see. And this is so frustrating.
The other people can see. The other people can see. That's good.
Yeah, that's so true. So yeah, so it's he says you can use it to post quotes, make quote cards, for instance, for your blog post. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but I'm actually applying that idea of circular virality. Oh, well, that's a tongue breaker too. But yes, so for instance, I'm going to take this live and I might remove it from my, what do you call it, from my wall, my profile page. So it's still visible in Reels. Meanwhile, I'm going to edit it so it's best visible also on YouTube. So now, right now, we are vertical. We are split in two. I'm at the top, you're at the bottom. Normally, I'm at the bottom, so I'm a little surprised. And when it comes to YouTube, I'm going to post us next to one another. So, of course, that's not done in 1 minute. That takes time to actually do it. But yes. Then I'm going to look, because I'm going to put captions underneath. That's like subtitles. Mm-hmm. We call it subtitles in the Netherlands, and then of course they call it captions. I have no clue why, but you know what I mean. Anyway, yes. So just watching the captions already tells me what we're talking about, and then I'm like, oh yeah, this. Oh, yes, that one. And so then I take little parts and then I reuse those, because when it comes to Instagram, people don't want to watch for a very long time, normally.
True. Attention span is a thing right now. These days, people are having trouble focusing longer times than they used to. Is what I've noticed.
Yeah, that's true, because we are in a swipe culture.
Yes, it's technically designed to work like a slot machine, basically, and swipe. Like so.
A slot machine.
Yeah. That's really true. I've watched videos of tech experts, and they say that the big tech companies hired people who used to work in casinos to design those slot machines. Mm-hmm. And that's the technology and the algorithms that they put into our social media apps, basically. So works the same.
I didn't know. So when it comes to distractions, those things are actually kind of distracting. So with all the banners that show up on your phone, usually when I talk to people, I actually put it down, so I cannot see what's going on the screen. Mm-hmm. Because I get distracted by it. I'm one of those people who can be immensely chaotic, as in very hyper. So I really need to shut myself away. So keep myself distant from any distractions that there can be. Hence why I sometimes put things on airplane mode. So my phone is already on silent 24/7.
Mm-hmm. Mine too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny because the typing of the keyboard already drives me mad. When you hear the beep, 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 and I'm like, why do people keep that on? Or the sounds when you. So I do a lot of Pokemon Go because it gets me to go outside and get to walk, which I need to do because of mobility issues. And then, well, it's annoying enough when I'm wearing my bone conductor, so basically my earphones. But when I'm not using any earphones or anything, then the sound is off. Those repeating melodies. But we were talking about distractions. So basically, we talked about distractions which can happen overnight, which was happening at your place. So
Yep.
did you have to leave your apartment, or could you stay in there?
No, I could stay in my apartment. And I don't like to be, how do you call it? Ramptoerist.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. When you are watching what's going on,
Yeah,
because
basically
something is going on.
when the emergency responders are there, that there is a crowd that is watching them work. I don't like to be one of those people, but since it's right in front of my house, literally, I was like, okay, I better check it out just to be sure that I don't have to evacuate or whatever, if it's safe for me to stay, right? Or maybe I should go to a friend who lives nearby. But all was good. Luckily, the police was very good at handling the situation, so it was resolved swiftly and quietly. But still, it's a bit stressful when that happens, right? It's not an everyday thing. So yeah, that distracted me.
Yeah, I bet it did. I totally believe so. So one of the other things I talked about was when things happen, being under the weather, or when certain things happen, which, well, one of the things that I actually talked about was there was a friend, the friend was supposed to drop off the cat today, which didn't happen. He called me
Aw.
after, actually during the live, but I didn't know. And then after the live again, we contacted one another, and he said, "I'm not going to drop off the cat." But thing was, we were supposed. He came here to see if there was enough space for the cat. I said, "Well, I doubt there's enough space, but if you need someone to watch over your cat in case of emergencies, I'm here." And then we got to talk about what he's actually doing for his job, about procedures and writing certain things. And we did so for a few hours. And I said, well, if you want to, I can help you with it. And
Oh,
um, so talking about distractions, of course, that was not on my priority list. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, yes, good morning. It's good. Yeah, it's still good morning here.
yeah. Good
So
morning.
yeah, Anna is 5 hours ahead of us, if
Oh
I'm
wow.
correct. So, are you behind or in front of us? So, if you're in front of us, it would be afternoon at your place. I always forget. So, she's in Brazil. And there is Joe. Joe, are you still alive? Really? We are talking about deadlines and about distractions, and I actually expect you to join at some point too. But you don't know Sharon. Sharon doesn't know you.
Hi.
Joe is someone you we've done a lot of lives together, and she's been hiding lately because of
Oh.
circumstances. So, so I miss her during the live, so that's why I'm talking to her like that. And she has been to Chicago with me a couple of times, and I actually went to London one time where she lives. Well, she lives in the outskirts of London, so we actually met face to face as in live for the first time when we were spending time in Chicago. So that was quite the challenge, and it worked pretty well actually. So that was kind of nice. But talking about those distractions, so getting back to the cat and then what he was talking
Hi.
about. and then writing the papers. Yeah, I'm good at going back because I'm all over the place, and then I need to make sure that people understand what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to speaking up and speaking out, actually what this is about something that's going on and has to do with court. So people are saying to someone else, I want you to go to court because I don't agree with what you're saying, and then they have to come up with a defense. And well, if you read what they're saying, it's like yawn because there's so much which is about the same thing. And of course, you want people to know in a heartbeat, like in the first minute, what things are what is important to know and what's not. So I said, well, you know what? Maybe I can help you write those things because I used to be a contract manager, and of course, being someone who guides, especially the younger ones out there, I help them with phone calls and statements, and when they're not heard, seen, and understood, which is what I'm about, then I basically join them and start to talk on their behalf or write on their behalf. I'm not sure if you knew this, but let me just quickly. Can you see that what Joe is writing right now?
Yeah, I see some messages at the bottom.
Okay, so she says,
Yeah. Hi.
it's been manic at the moment. So much has happened. We'll explain eventually when she gets time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you seem to duck on WhatsApp. I'm just talking to her for a sec. So she says, hello, Rebel. Rebel?
Yeah, like
Oh, yeah, of
my
course.
username.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Anna says hello to you too.
Yes. Hello.
Well, I just call you Sharon. Is that okay?
Uh,
Because
yeah, I haven't made up my mind yet if I want to be known by my real name or like a pseudonym. So let's see.
well,
We'll
okay.
roll with it
Well,
for
it
now.
says Sharon and Lexi. So let me take that down. Yeah, you didn't see it because you're still looking at a black screen.
Mm.
So done by one. Rebel. I instantly hear this song from Billy Idol. In the midnight hour, she wants more, more, more with a rebel yell. So now I'm showing done by one, Rebel and Lexi. So, and there she says she misses the live chats too. Once all this is over, up to be back. Yeah.
Oh.
And and there were a lot of smiley hearts from Anna to you. So, yeah, I missed them too. So, okay, so back to the distractions. And so when I was writing the papers, I was like, so for me, there were actually five things. And there is an answer here. Joe, we could have live. My English has improved. That's amazing, Anna. So the both of us, you and I, are actually on Duolingo, right? So is Anna. So, and she is learning English because she talks Portuguese. And
Yeah.
she's looking forward to it. So, what are you learning? You were learning Spanish also on Duolingo, is that
Oh,
correct?
me?
Yes, you.
Oh, no, I haven't been on Duolingo for a while now. I have used it in the past for several things, but I have tried learning Japanese and
Oh,
Korean and
wow.
Indonesian, but I'm not very good at those. But yeah, more dabbling than real studying.
Yeah.
Oh,
I,
I
it's
see
it's
French
my
in the
it's
chat.
my mistake. It was someone else.
Mhm.
Tracy Inner Phoenix, who does Done by One too. She's in Aussie. She was actually doing Duolingo Spanish, and I'm doing Spanish too. So they're going to go back and forth about doing French. Yes, I'm doing my French too. So Joe has been raised bilingual, so she talks
Mm.
both English and French, and she does understand a little French, not French, Dutch, because
Oh, cool.
was raised in Belgium, but in the French part of Belgium.
Ah, so
No, that's
Flemish
not
then.
correct. She was in the Dutch part of Belgium, as far as I can tell, because the name of the city is actually Dutch. Okay, I'm not going to get into what they are saying all the time. Oh yeah. Well, there's one question for you, and that's where
Yeah,
is Rebel from?
I'm from the Netherlands, just like Lexi.
No, 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 no. Why Rebel?
Oh, right, Rebel. Um, oh, that's because I read The Four Tendencies by what's her name again? Gretchen Rubin. And out of her like test or assessment thing, it came out that I have a rebel tendency. So I was like, yeah, that's a good one. Let's just go with it.
So how about November?
November, that's my birth month.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going all over the place. I'm aware, and I'm trying to go back to what I said before.
So
so,
many distractions.
so when Brendan was talking, oh, and she said she loves it.
Oh,
Well,
thank you.
I love it too. But that's a different story. Anyway, when I was working on the priorities, and one of the things that Brendan talked about, of course, was being able to sustain the message. Well, actually, Evan Carmichael says it, but I think Brendan does too. Evan Carmichael is the YouTube expert. I saw him at
Oh, yeah,
Live. So we danced salsa together, actually.
cool.
It's quite a funny story. And the thing was, I could only stand on one foot and a few toes. So
Mm.
I was sitting in the hallway until he had time to talk to me. And then he was like, does she want to say something to me? Why on earth is she sitting on the hallway floor? And then I stood up and then I said, you know, I'm going to put it on my bucket list, the dancing. And then he said, I don't believe in bucket list. And he said, let's go dance. And he actually could lead very well. So even with a few toes and one foot, I could dance with him. But he's the YouTube expert. So, and he helped me with a lot of things when it came to the design and other stuff. But anyway, when I was thinking about the speaking up and speaking out and expressing, and I was like, well, actually, this is, well, like I said, the work that I usually do for other people too. And when it came to sustaining the message, I actually had written down, because that's what Brendan talked about too, was like, okay, in order to meet the deadlines and also to meet the demands, in this case, sustaining the message, I need to make another extra 500 per month, something along those lines. So I was like, well, it would be nice if every month I would, you know, double that. And I was like, okay. And my coach from Brendan, she said, you need to be specific, as in what you send to the universe, what kind of message you send. And she said, well, if you're not specific, then nothing is going to happen. Well, the funny thing is that when we got to talk about it, so basically I hired him a while back, and then he said, well, if you want to, you would like to hire me. And we came exactly for that number. That's what we ended up with. So that was kind of funny. And then I was like, but is this a priority? Because it's actually kind of distracting to actually be working on something else. And the reason I did spend time on it was because it was all in my mind. We had been talking about it for hours. So I was like, I need to do a brain dump and then, you know, write about it. Then it's out of my system and then I can focus on the other things. But of course, it's a distraction. And then I was like, but yeah, I did send to the universe, I want some extra cash, you know, to sustain
Yeah.
the message. So what's your perspective on this? Oh, and Joe says she needs to go. She needs to go to her dad's. Take care. Love you, Lexi. Ah, thank you so much. I think she's already gone. We'll try to talk later on WhatsApp. Her dad had a stroke not too long ago. So yeah, so she
Oh,
needs to help him out.
yeah, that's good that she takes care of
Yeah.
them.
So so when I talk about sustaining the message and sending to the universe what you want to work on, and even if it's not to the universe, you actually send it to yourself because you are like, hey, I'm focusing on what's important,
Mm-hmm.
and which leads to taking action. So visualizing is one thing, but you also need to take action. So yes, what are your thoughts on those subjects?
Well, um, I'd like to think of it because I'm not really big on spirituality personally. I'm more of the science kind of thing. But I'd like to think about it as, let's say you are trying to buy a new car and you have decided you wanted a Tesla or something. Before you make the decision, you hardly ever see any Teslas because every car is just a car. But once you've made up your mind that you want a Tesla, then you see Teslas everywhere. It's like, what happened? They pop up everywhere in your field of view, but it's like, I think, and I'm not certain because I haven't studied psychology in depth yet, but I think it's about sending a message to your brain saying like, okay, we want this, and now we are on the lookout for everything that looks like it. Um, the same, I did an experiment like last year. I heard it somewhere online that you can look for hearts in your environment, and first you never see it, but then it shows up everywhere, like a flower or a graffiti on the wall, or you see it. I don't know what it is. It's like
You're
a primer
focused,
of your
yeah, you're
brain.
focused on it.
Yeah,
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 that's what it
yeah,
is. So I actually tell people there are so many opportunities around us. We just are not focused on it. And by the way, Teslas do
yeah.
pop up everywhere, but that's a whole different story. But yes, I
Not
compare
for
it
me.
with a clothing rack when you go to the dry cleaners. You know, you have those racks, and then you push a button, and then all of a sudden, all those clothes they go around the room on that rack, and then until yours pops out. And I believe when it comes to opportunities or things you want to focus on, it's basically the same.
Yeah.
Those opportunities have been there. I don't agree that Teslas always have been there, but yes, they are making their.
But
You
I
will
don't
not be
notice
marketing
Teslas,
them.
Lexi. I don't notice them because I'm not in the market for a
Oh my
Tesla. So
brother has a Tesla, a blue one, a dark blue one. Yeah, so so yeah, I see Teslas all the time. It's not because he has got one; it's because they're, you know, they wrote about it, and you see more and more charging poles for
oh,
specifically Teslas. So apparently they're different from other electric cars. I don't know why.
oh,
Yeah.
I don't notice. I just notice a charging pole and that's it.
Well,
I don't know which one it
go
is.
to a Van der Valk hotel. She Rebel knows what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
When I talk about Van der Valk, that's a very
It's like
known
the
family here.
Hilton or the Marriott or whatever. It's like a chain, a hotel
Yeah.
chain.
Well, they try to actually live up to the same standard nowadays. They're very luxurious. I remember when
Mhm.
I was growing up, they weren't that luxurious, but now they are. Anyway, um, um, so when you go there, you actually see like 10 of those charging poles from Tesla next to one another, and then I'm like, are they promoting Tesla or something? what's what's going on? Because the other ones for electric cars, they are hardly there, if there are any other ones. So that's kind of funny to see. um but yes, so the other one was sustaining the message.
Mm. Yes, tell me more about that because I'm not that familiar with Brendan talking about it. I think it's more of an influencer
Yeah.
maybe thing, or
Yeah. So, and as if I'm talking about the charging bull, no, I'm not talking about a bull as in an animal. I'm charging about a charging pole. So we have cars here which run on gasoline. So then you get gasoline at the gas station. But we also have cars which run on electricity. And yes, that's funny, right? So when you have to charge electric cars, you can also go to a gas station nowadays. But we also have what we call charging poles. So those are literally poles, and then you can plug your electricity cable from your car in there to charge your car. And they are at company. I won't say company buildings, but at the parking lots of company buildings. And sometimes you can actually have one at your house too.
yeah,
So
there are a couple of them here down the street at just at the public parking spaces. So
yeah. So I don't believe they're just used for charging. I believe people who can charge also use them to park their car, and then they just charge all night. That's a different story. So, getting back to my question, so sustaining the message is about not doing whatever it takes, because that's not correct, but that's what people would do. It's about doing what needs to be done, I guess, to get that compound effect that we talked about earlier.
oh.
So doing the things that I mean, I'm a coach, I'm also a therapist and a trainer, and something else I forgot. It doesn't really matter, but the the message that I want to talk about is about speaking up and speaking out, and have people share their story. So I'm like, okay, when I want to teach people or support them when it comes to speaking up and speaking out, this is actually kind of the same thing, because I'm talking on behalf of those people. But if you look at, for instance, the handout, which you still can see because you're still looking at a black screen, I can
But I have it here, so it's
visualize
good.
it. You can visualize. Well, did you print it? Then you can show it too. Or is
Sorry?
it still on your phone? Did you print it, or is it on your phone?
No,
Otherwise, you
it's
can
just
show it too.
downloaded. It's just digital. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, are you still sitting? Are you using the phone right now or your
yeah,
computer?
yeah. Because there was no invite button at the or join button at the desktop version. So
Ah,
phone it is.
okay, okay. Well, Anna, you can get the handout too. There's a link. I just need to send you the link. It's in the bio of Instagram, but it's 7 ways to express yourself. So there's the music, the writing, the drawing, designing, um, dreaming, visualizing, and voicing. So those are ways to express yourself. And she says, I remember that statue, she's talking about the bull, in New
Oh
York,
yeah,
near Wall
famous.
Street,
Mhm.
in New York. And she loved the picture I just showed. But yes, when it comes to sustaining the message, and then we get back to the done by one challenge, it's
Mhm.
about prioritizing what is important to you. So for me, it's that people are heard, seen, and understood. They get perspective again when they don't see perspective anymore. And well, by creating that handout or creating courses, telling people I do group coaching, that's getting people's attention to what it is I'm doing. And that's, of course, what I love best. So when it comes to sustaining the message, it makes more sense to work on those kind of things than it is to generating money, also speaking up and speaking out. But then again, I also know that I do give people perspective who are on the other side of that procedure. Just like I guide the young people over here to learn to speak up and speak out and be understood. So yeah, I'm like, it's not totally not relevant, but on the other hand, I do believe that when it comes to priorities, I should be focusing on the handouts and the courses and promoting those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So sustaining the message, because I know that in a few months from now, you have to think about sustaining the message yourself as well a little bit more.
Yeah.
So, what's your message? Let's start.
What's my message? Good question. What is my message? Well, haven't really, I haven't really found the clarity that you have with the speak up, speak out, basically. But what I'm interested in lately is the personal growth lessons that I'm learning during dance classes, because I've been a former competitive dancer. There's a lot to be learned about how dance forms your mind, basically sets a certain mindset of holding yourself to certain standards, or like the other day my teacher was talking about dancing is about tension and relaxation of your muscles, and that you can take that concept into not just dance but in life in general, because um, life is about tension and relaxation. There are times that you have to work really hard and be focused, like the done by one challenge, but you also need that refresh routine that Brendan is talking about, right? You need to have maybe meditation, or maybe a massage, or whatever, time to reset yourself.
Yes,
So,
that's so
yeah.
true. So Anna says she has to go. She
Oh,
says,
yeah.
"Nice life. See you soon." Um, so you told me something also about lifestyle. So let me get back to what you said before about relaxation versus the tension of the
Tension.
muscles.
Yeah.
Yeah, using them. So I know all about this because when I went to the US last September, I stayed there for 5 weeks, and when I got back, my right knee was a wreck.
Oh,
They had me walking beside the wheelchair instead of in the wheelchair, sitting in there. So that was, yeah, there's a whole story behind it. But anyway, we thought for a moment that my ligaments, the ACL, had torn.
oh no.
Yeah,
Ouch.
well, my left one is torn actually.
Ooh.
It was a different feeling compared to what I experienced in the right one. But the right one, they have this test, they call it the drawer test. And then if you put your foot down and your knee is in an angle, so you're
Mhm.
lying down and your foot is flat, then your knee points upwards. And then they can pull it towards them really quickly. And if they can, the ligaments are too loose, basically, which they are in this case. So
Okay.
as it turned out, I didn't have a torn ligament, but my muscles were so relaxed because they didn't know what to do anymore. So either they were very tensed up, and then everything would be hurting because all the tendons would basically roll across one another. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Or it would be too loose, and then my joints would go all over the place, which had the same effect. So I got braces. Well, actually, new ones. You've never seen me with the old ones. But the new ones actually correct what we call the proprioception. I don't know what you call it in English, but that's it gives the information about the tension and the position of the muscles and the tendons and the joints. You know what I'm talking about as a dancer. And that actually corrects everything. So it's not only to support the muscles and the ligaments in the joints. But the moment I take it off, I can actually walk normally again because there has been a reset.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talking about tension and relaxation, but also about lifestyle, because you told me that and the refresh routine is actually kind of interesting when you talk about this, that it's also about a healthy lifestyle, about exercising, about the food intake you actually have, because, well, people are not aware of this, but when you're dancing, and especially when you're dancing with other people, apart from the strain on your knees, so every time you jump, it's 3 times the weight that you actually have on your knees. When you're dancing with a partner, he has to be able to pick you up. So, so you cannot be too heavy for the partner, basically. So there's a lot going on when it comes to probably not eating. So talk to us a little bit about the lifestyle, because you actually said it's the healthy lifestyle, which you actually applaud when it comes to dancing and the discipline. Am I saying this correctly, or?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily applaud every lifestyle decision that dancers make, because it's also can be ruining your body, especially if you do something like classical ballet. I've never done that, luckily. Those have really, really strict rules about diet and lifestyle. I was in a what you call ballroom formation group. That means eight men and 8 women will dance a routine, and they will do competitions with that routine that you create, basically. Lifts are unfortunately a part of those routines, because that's pretty, right? It makes it stand out from every other routine that is shown. So being less heavy is preferable. Also, if you're dancing in a group, there are only so many dresses for the girls to fit into, because we all look the same. We are all dressed the same. The hair is the same. The makeup is the same. The dress is the same. And so if you do not fit in those dresses, you cannot be in the competition. So that requires a certain weight, and that's not always healthy necessarily, because I've seen people get maybe let's put it this way. They restrained themselves so much that they almost became anorexic, and that is not a good thing. I personally never went that far. I'm an eater. I'm an emotional eater, so I need to have my food. Even though that meant sometimes I wasn't able to dance a competition. That's the downside of it. But what it does fairly well is it teaches you about discipline, and dancing, I mean, teaches you about discipline, and even if you fail, you have to continue, and even if you're in a performance and you fall down, you have to get up right away and continue. And that's a mindset that I think the general population usually doesn't have. Just like the show must go on, that type of mindset. And I don't know necessarily if it's a good or a bad thing, because if you're seriously injured, you should stop. You shouldn't go.
Yeah,
Continue.
I
Right?
get there.
Yeah.
My mother and she was a piano teacher, and she also played every once in a while. She had here perform and play concerts, and she always told us that when you're performing and when you hit the wrong note, you go on straight away. But when it comes to discipline, and I learned it specifically while playing drums, I've learned to start slowly, then speed up, and then finish slowly too. Um, so I'm doing this music lesson thing, training on Duolingo, and they don't give you the opportunity to finish slowly. And
Mm.
well, what I've learned, and I've noticed that during the piano playing, is when you get used to certain faults or certain mistakes during the play, then you keep repeating them even when you haven't done it for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And by finishing slowly and taking out those mistakes, that's what the big difference is. But that requires discipline. It
Mm.
requires discipline. I actually
True.
talked in the live about, um, I said, well, when it comes to deadlines and distractions, I'm one of those people who can get easily distracted. And then there are two things I can do. I can say I'm going to go live, but I'm later than I planned on going live, or I cannot do it at all. But not doing it at all is actually no option. Not actually no option. It is not an option.
Not negotiable.
Yeah, because you teach your brain that you are okay with giving up. And we don't want
Yeah.
to teach our brain that we're okay with doing that. I mean, it's
Mm.
not okay to teach your brain that you're always late. That's not okay either. And so I'm guilty when it comes to those kind of things.
Baby
But
steps.
yeah, exactly. The done by one forces me to actually do things. But then again, you see the difference between you and me. You always have posted what you have done before one, before one.
Mhm.
I'm like, I've done the things before one, and don't get mad with me if I start posting about what I've done before one, after one. And especially when Instagram takes everything down again and I have to upload again. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but discipline, I totally agree.